Time for a look at the scoreboard for the Wednesday morning, December 18th simulations in our Simulated Baseball League. It's the first session of the fourth day, and of course there's 3 per day in terms of simulation runs. And it's the 10th set of simulations overall. And again, keep in mind, not every team plays in every single simulation. There's 162 games. There are approximately 177 simulations, so essentially every team gets about 15 idle dates from playing in a simulation round. And on this particular morning, we have 12 games to tell you about. And we're going to start with a much-needed win for the Marlins in extra innings at LA. They win that game in 10 innings. Actually, check that, 13 innings, the length of the game, and that's the longest game so far in the early going. 10-7, Miami wins it in 13. 10-14-1 for Miami, 7-13-1 for LA. Miguel Cabrera hit number 2, Jeff Conine number 1, and Cliff Lloyd hit a pair home runs number 1 and 2 on the young season for the winning Marlins. Campanella hit number 2 for the Dodgers, and I suppose I should give you the winning and losing pitchers. I normally do that before we call out the homers. The win in relief obviously goes to Matt Mante of Miami. The loss to Eric Gagne. And credit Al Leiter with a save. And in all cases, that's the first decision of any kind. So 1-0 on the mark for Mante, 0-1 for Gagne, and save number 1 for Leiter. Nationals beat the Red Sox 11-6, 11-17-0 for Washington, 6-11-0 for Boston. Strasburg in relief, the win, 2-0. Longberg the loss, 0-2. A lot of home runs in this one for Washington. Ryan Zimmerman, number 1. Gary Carter, number 3. Vladimir Guerrero, number 2. For Boston, Curry Yastrzemski and Fred Lynn each at number 1. David Ortiz, number 2. Astros beat the Braves 4-1, 4-11-0 for Houston, 1-5-0 for Atlanta. Kyle the win, 1-1. Neff the loss, 0-2. Billy Wagner save 4. Dale Murphy hit number 1 for the losing Braves. The Athletics crushed the Rangers 13-2, 13-12-0 for Oakland, 2-7-1 for Texas. Dave Stewart 2-0 over Bert Blyleven, 0-1. Jose Canseco hit his 4th for Oakland, and that was a slam. Padres beat the Mets 11-8, 11-14-0 for San Diego, 8-11-0 for New York. Luke Gregerson the win, 1-0. Jesse Orozco the loss, 0-1. Hoffman saved 3. Kennedy hit number 2, and Gonzalez hit a pair for 3 on the season for the Padres. Strawberry and Piazza each number 1 for New York. Orioles beat the Rays 11-7, 11-8-0 for Baltimore, 7-14-2 for Tampa Bay. Sothran 2-0 over Hellickson, 0-2, and Grabowski to save his 2nd. Home runs for the Orioles, Brian Roberts number 3, Ken Williams number 1. Giants beat the Yankees 8-1 in the Bronx, 8-9-0 for San Francisco, 1-5-0 for New York. Mike Krukow 1-1 over Fritz Peterson, 1-1. For the Giants, Mays hit 3 home runs, and that puts his total at 5 on the season. As well, Bonds hit number 2, and Ott hit number 5. For the Yankees, Mantle hit number 6. Angels beat the Phillies again 9-3, 9-12-0 for LA, 3-9-0 for the Phils. Jared Weaver the win, 1-1. George McQuillan the loss, 1-1. Erstad hit number 2 for the Angels. For the Phillies, Schmidt hit number 6, and that puts him and Mantle both second behind Ryan Howard in the home run race. Pirates beat the Tigers 10-6, 10-14-1 for Pittsburgh, 6-10-2 for Detroit. Vern Law 1-1 with the victory. The loss for Detroit. Jim Bunning, who's now 0-2. Home runs in this for Pittsburgh. Giles number 3 and Kiner number 1 for Detroit. Gehringer number 2, and Freehand hit number 1. Milwaukee beats Cleveland 9-8, 9-10-3 for the Brewers, 8-12-0 for the Indians. Doug Jones 1-0 over Mike Jackson 0-1. In this game, the Brewer bullpen was charged with 2 blown saves and Cleveland with 1. The home runs in this one for the Brewers, Prince Fielder and Dave Nielsen, the Australian, each hit number 1. Manny Ramirez at number 2 for the Indians. The Blue Jays hand the Cubs an 8-4 loss, 8-12-1 for Toronto, 4-6-1 for Chicago. Tom Hinkie 1-0 over Lee Smith, 0-1. B.J. Ryan the save his third. For the Blue Jays, Frank Menechino hit his first and Jose Bautista his second. Ryan Sandberg number 1 for the losing Cubs. And finally, the Royals hand the Diamondbacks another loss, 5-4 in Phoenix. 5-10-0 for Kansas City, 4-7-0 for Arizona. Luke Hochevar in relief for the win for the Royals, 1-0. Byung-Hyun Kim the loss in relief for Arizona, 0-1. And Greg Holland saved 3. Mayberry hit number 3 for the Royals. Jay Bell number 2 for the losing Diamondbacks. And before we wrap this up, since there's been a few more simulations, let's give you the update on the standings as we approach play on the Wednesday afternoon. We've got 10 rounds of simulations in the books. And here's where we stand now, division by division. And again, keep in mind the alignment is a geographical alignment, not the one you're used to in modern big league ball. In the National League East, which is the 5 Sunbelt teams, the Rangers, Braves, and Astros are all 5-4. The Rays right behind them at 4-4. The Marlins are 2-6, 2.5 out. In the National League Central, which is the 6 teams in the Northeast Corridor, the Phillies are on top. They're 7-3. The Yankees and the Orioles are both a game and a half back out at 5-4. The Nationals haven't had a day off yet. They're 5-5, and they trail by 2. The Red Sox are 4-5, and the Mets are 3-5. In the National League West, which is the 5 California teams, the Dodgers are in first at 6-4. The Athletics are 4-4. The Giants 4-5. The Angels are 4-5, and the Padres are 4-6. In the American League East, which is the industrial division, kind of the Eastern Great Lakes and Ohio River territory, the Indians and Blue Jays are both tied for first. They're 6-2. The Pirates are a game back. They're 5-3. The Reds are 4-3, and the Tigers are in last, but they're 4-4. So everybody in that division is at or over 500, and they're separated by only 2 games so far through the early going. The American League Central is kind of the gateway to the West Division. The Cardinals and Royals are tied for first. They are both 5-3. The Rockies are 3-4. The Mariners are 3-5, and the Diamondbacks bring up the rear. Arizona has fallen to 2-6 with those 3 straight losses to Kansas City. And finally, the American League West, that's the upper Midwest on the western side of the Great Lakes in the central time zone, if you will. And those 4 teams out there look like this. White Sox lead the way. They're 5-3. The Twins trail by 2. They're 3-5. And the Cubs and Brewers are both 3 back, and they are each 2-6. So you can see it's a very competitive league in the early going, and everybody basically the worst records are 2-6, the best are 7-3. So everybody overall separated by 4 games here, and everybody has played between 8 and 10 games in the early going through 10 simulations. That's the wrap of where we stand through Wednesday morning, December 18. I may have said 17 earlier. Wednesday morning, December 18. And we'll talk to you later.